This program is part of the Cosmic Potato Podcast Network. For more shows like this, visit our website at cosmicpotato.com.
Hey, listen!
All right, you guys, podcast time.
Make it so.
It's me, Mario!
I'm Batman. Strong am I with the Force.
Are you telling me you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
You're a wizard, Harry.
And welcome to World War G episode 172. I'm Troy.
I'm AJ.
And I'm Colton.
Okay, so we were just kind of discussing before we started recording that Black Panther has moved into the number 3 all-time domestic box office.
Which begs the question, what's still at the top?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and we had talked about how good Black Panther was going to do.
Oh, yeah.
In a previous episode, and we were wrong. We were right in the fact that it beats Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we were wrong how much money it was going to make.
Yeah. I was completely off.
I think we said between like 400 to 500,000 in there. Or 500 million.
Like, I don't want to be the unpopular opinion here or anything, but I don't know why it's doing so well. I mean, I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, it was pretty solid.
But I don't think that it should be where it's at.
I don't know. I think it's just kind of resonating with people. I mean, I've seen it twice. I've seen it twice.
It was pretty solid. A couple of the fight scenes were kind of lackluster from what we've come to expect out of Marvel movies, you know. But I mean, everything else, the music as well as like the whole environment and being in Wakanda was pretty amazing. Plus, that's a taste of what we're gonna see, you know, with Infinity War.
Yeah. So.
But this is domestic.
This is domestic.
Right.
So I pulled up Box Office Mojo here. So the top 10 all-time domestic is number 10, Beauty and the Beast from 2017 with 504 million. Number 9, Rogue One, Star Wars story with 532. Number 8, The Dark Knight with 534. Number 7, Star Wars The Last Jedi, 620. Number 6, Marvel's The Avengers with 623. Number 5, Jurassic World with 652. Number 3, and this has changed a little bit because on here they still have Black Panther as number 4, but number 4 would be Titanic. Then number 3, Black Panther. Number 2, Avatar. Then number 1, Star Wars: The Force Awakens,
which is a force to be reckoned with. But I was kind of interesting while you were reading that list. I was thinking the majority of those movies kind of piggybacked off the fame of, you know, other movies that came before, except for Titanic and Avatar. You know, they were kind of unique and just their own creation.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Beauty and the Beast, a remake. Rogue One is kind of, you know,
piggybacking off of Star Wars. Yeah, for sure.
The Dark Knight was a sequel. Last Jedi is a sequel.
Right.
The Avengers, yeah. Jurassic World. Yeah,
so it kind of like builds up and then just, you know.
So really, the only one on there that is, well, the only two that are on
Titanic
there that are their only things are Titanic and Avatar.
Right.
And the interesting thing is how recent most of these movies are, which is kind of interesting. Yeah. I mean, Beauty and the Beast is already number 10, and that just came out last year.
And they do take into consideration for this list, you know, what the price of a ticket was, don't they? You'd imagine because of Titanic, right?
I think so, because at number 13 they have Star Wars from 77. So I think they've kind of adjusted as far as inflation goes, yeah.
And it was kind of crazy because I was wondering about this. As far as movies that they've spent the most money, care to take a guess at which one's number 1?
Spent the most money?
Avatar.
Yeah. No.
I'm guessing it's going to be a movie
with a lot of big name actors.
I mean, this is probably before Infinity War, you know?
Yeah.
That budget.
Is it a familiar movie?
Yep. All three of them are. The top three.
Is it a superhero movie?
One of the three is.
I'm gonna guess one of them is the Avengers.
Nope.
Oh.
So it's...
Civil War?
No. Pirates, the Curse on Stranger Tides, and then Pirates at World's End, and then Justice League. Yeah, Pirates, Stranger
That's
Tides.
really weird.
$378.5 million. Pirates at World's End, $300 million, and Justice League, $300 million.
See, I'm not surprised about the Justice League one because the entire movie was CGI.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's interesting.
And none of the ones that have made the most money have spent the most money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's all
There's
about the
no
basics.
correlation.
Yeah, I mean, some others on this list. We have a lot of them are Disney. I'm finding out, especially now since Disney owns everything.
Like 7 out of 10 of the top 10.
Yeah. So, like Finding Dory, Star Wars Episode 1,
Disney, yeah.
Star Wars, Avengers: Age of Ultron, Disney, Dark Knight Rises, Shrek 2, E.T., The Hunger Games, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Lion King, Toy Story 3, Wonder Woman, Iron Man 3, Civil War. Yeah. Furious 7, that's on there.
Okay, a little bit is because, you're like, wow, Disney puts out some good products. No, they just hire good people, or they just buy whatever they want.
Or buy everything, yeah. It's easy to be on top when you own everything.
When you got that Disney money.
Yep. So, speaking of movies, I can start pulling my phone back out. We're just about to do our annual March Movie Madness in April. And we have the movie set. And so I just thought it'd be fun if we just kind of talked about some of our predictions, what we think movies are going to do well, movies that aren't going to do so well.
Yeah.
Maybe we think that there might be some movies that might surprise us. So my pick when we started this whole thing was that Black Panther is going to win the entire thing. It's going to be our next champion.
Yeah. Are you still...
I am.
feeling that's the case?
Yeah. I'm still thinking that's going to be the case. And I was also thinking that in second place would be Jumanji 2017, but you have a different idea about that.
I think that for that category that Coco is going to win out Jumanji. Not necessarily because, well, I do think it's a better movie if I'm being 100% honest.
It is, yeah.
But if it were totally up to our listeners, especially because we have so many people that are listening in Colombia, like internationally, this movie is doing much better than Jumanji. I'd be willing to bet, just because it's a lot. Like especially in Mexico, it's the #1 movie of all time in Mexico in terms of like purchase and like gross earnings.
Yeah.
So I think that Coco will outrun Jumanji.
That'd be interesting.
It seems like, okay, so our previous winners have been which ones?
So our first winner was
Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight.
Yes.
And then
Avengers.
Civil War? Was that last year?
Force Awakens.
Yes.
And then Civil War.
Okay. It's kind of funny, like...
It's the superhero movies that do it.
It seems to be, yeah.
We eventually need to put up...
that Star Wars is a superhero movie.
Yeah. I think so. I think we determined the Jedi were superheroes. But I would love to see something like Coco win the whole thing.
That'd be hilarious. Just this, like, random, unexpected upset.
Or something weird like Atomic Blonde. Just
Dirty Grandpa.
Yeah. I think that'd be hilarious.
Into the mix. Well, we do know our listeners, and we do know all the people that are, you know what I mean?
We do know our listeners.
Or we'd like to think that we do.
Intimately. At least I do. Anyway. Some of these we have... I mean, some of the other ones are on the list. I mean, we have Logan, The Incredibles, Deadpool is back. Yay. Game Night, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to see how that one does.
Den of Thieves, Edge of Tomorrow, like I said, Atomic Blonde, Dirty Dancing, Pan's
There were
Labyrinth.
some peculiar ones that, were in here.
And these are the ones that got more than one nomination.
Correct.
That's the funny thing.
Yeah. So it's not just like one random person saying it. You know?
Atomic Blonde got a couple. Den of Thieves got a couple. Wind River's on here. 3 Billboards.
Wonder. Hey, look, Colton. Big Sick. The Big Sick made it. There you go.
It is a good movie.
It'll be interesting to see how that goes.
I really think that Moana will kind of surprise us at how well it does. We do tend to have a lot of Disney.
You'll never know how far that one will go. You're welcome. 2 songs. So when are we starting that?
This week?
Yeah.
It's April now. I mean, we're over a week into it.
Because I know we wanted to start it where it would end roughly around the end of the month. So
right.
I think it'll be this week. So, so follow us on Facebook, and we'll post, the rounds and stuff there, and we'll direct you to the right spot. Don't worry about it. So
intimately direct you. So let's take a break. An intimate break.
You guys are making this weird.
Intimately weird.
Just let it happen. Just let it happen.
And when we come back, we got our news stories. We got Spider-Man. We got Daniel Radcliffe and Catwoman. So we'll be back right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Are you feeling nostalgic about your music listening needs?
Do you like the tonal quality that only a record can provide?
Then go check out Lavender Vinyl, located at 123 25th Street, Ogden, Utah.
Yeah, go talk to Kylie or Blake. They have a large selection of new and used records. They will also buy your old records, maybe the ones that are just sitting up there in the attic, gathering dust. And if you can't find anything, they'll be more than happy to pre-order it for you. Now, you can always find them at lavendervinyl@gmail.com. You can also check out their website, lavendervinyl.com, or give them a call on the phone, like a normal person, at 385-240-0336.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
And we're back.
So, good news. Spider-Man PS4 game release date has been confirmed. Spider-Man is one of the most anticipated PS4 exclusives of 2018, and now we know when the superhero game will be launched. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man will be coming to the console on September 7th, 2018. Insomniac Games and Sony has announced few other new details have been revealed about the game as of yet, though the game's box art has been released. Spider-Man was unveiled at E3 in 2016. It will tell a completely new story that's not tied to any of the movies or comics. It contains an open world to explore, and you can use your environment to your advantage by, for example, throwing nearby objects at enemies. Post-launch DLC and Special Edition will also be available. Which, I don't like how they don't even, tell you what it includes. I'm not gonna, pre-order or get like the upgraded copy if it doesn't tell me what I'm getting for my money. There's like, oh yeah, we'll release some more content.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't believe in pre-orders anymore.
Oh really?
Not since what was that game? The one
Destiny?
in space. Yeah. No, not Destiny. Destiny was fine, I guess. What was that space one where you just explore? No Man's Sky. Yeah, No Man's Sky.
No.
Huge disappointment. No, it's just that ruined pre-orders for me. Like, unless you get really good exclusives, like World of Warcraft, I will always pre-order their expansions
Just because they give
you
much.
extra stuff.
Yeah.
Tons of it.
Like from the beginning and then as it goes on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It says the adventure game is being developed by Insomniac, the company that's biggest games are Sunset Overdrive, Resistance, Fall of Man, and the original Spyro the Dragon. The company says the Spider-Man open world will be much larger than Sunset Overdrive. For more on the PS exclusive, take a look at blah 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 blah. I do think that it's kind of cool that it's going to be only released on the PS4, and this will kind of, to me, take the place of Dark Knight or some of the other games, Arkham Asylum, because it looks, except for you're playing as Spider-Man, it looks pretty similar.
Mm-hmm. And I really like the whole open world aspect to it. Because that was one of my favorite things with the Spider-Man 2 game from 2002 or something. It was fairly open world, well, as much as they could back on an original PS2, I think it was. But yeah, if you're Spider-Man, what's one thing you want to do? You want to go around, swing through the cities.
Yeah.
Perhaps
get like alerts or, your spidey senses are tingling when but you don't always necessarily have to take that. You're like, somebody's being mugged. I'd rather fight like a mob boss.
Yeah.
Just like little tiny side quests that are just randomly generated.
Yeah, but I think that would be cool. I've seen a lot of gameplay, like a lot of the fight choreography and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And you're right, it is very much like Batman, the Arkham games.
That, and also I think they'll have to have some sort of story to progress through.
Yeah,
because otherwise it would be nice that it's open world and you can do whatever you want, but at the same time I still feel like I would want some sort of a story or some sort of like invested interest on why I'm going through the city.
Mm-hmm. Okay. CW renews all but one of its comic book shows. CW has renewed nearly all of its comic book-based TV shows for the 2018-2019 TV season. Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Black Lightning, and Riverdale will all return for new seasons in the fall. Of CW's comic book shows, only iZombie has not been renewed. Variety reports that a decision about the show is not expected to be made in May. I have a quote here. As the CW expands to a 6-night Sunday through Friday schedule next season, we are proud to have such a deep bench of great returning series for 2018-19. By picking these 10 series up for the next season, we have a terrific selection of programming to choose from, and blah, 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 blah. He said, everybody's so talented, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
They're just patting everybody on the back.
Pretty
and making
much,
them feel good.
Yeah.
Except for they don't say anything about iZombie.
Which is dumb, because that's the best of all of those shows that they have.
I've actually never seen it.
I love iZombie, and I think it's a great show. And, I'm not a huge fan of The Flash and Arrow. Definitely not Legends of Tomorrow. I haven't seen Riverdale, so I can't give an opinion on that. But iZombie is definitely better than those other three.
Well, you're welcome to have your wrong opinion. No, honestly, Arrow, I've said it before, I have a love-hate relationship with that show.
You have to watch it because you're already too far.
Yeah, I have to see it through. The Flash, I still love. I think it's great. However, this season has been rough because that one, and particularly DC's Legends of Tomorrow, they're relying a lot on like stupid comedy. Like they're doing a bunch of like slapstick humor lately, and I don't know why this all of a sudden shifted to this, but it's becoming really annoying.
And kind of campy, and you're like, all right, that's okay for like a first season, you know, where your trill's trying to learn and hit your stride, but where you're this far already in to resort back to that, it seems kind of a cop-out.
And Black Lightning is fine. It's a little heavy-handed.
Right. Rivendell, I have seen the first season. I don't know when my friend said, "Oh yeah, you should watch it. It's great. It's fantastic."
I haven't watched that either.
Yeah.
If I want to see Riverdale, I'll just go up the road a little ways. Utah joke. Okay.
Well, for some better news, or perhaps, I don't know. It's been 5 years since the last Harry Potter movie hit theaters. Man, where does the time go?
Yeah, right.
Right? But we may have to wait only 4 more until another installment of the iconic wizard. According to the New York Daily News, Warner Brothers is secretly... Oh, okay, it's not really a secret, right? Or has secretly making a deal on the movie's rights to Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, the 2-part stage play written by Jake Throne under the authority and franchise creator J.K. Rowling. Reportedly, the studio is eyeing a 2020 release for the adaptation, set to be the first in a trilogy. This would come right on the heels of the conclusion of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them trilogy. Currently, the play is on stage in London. A New York American premiere is expected for Toronto, the New York in 2017. The story takes place 19 years after the main events of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, meaning it's the same time as the movie's epilogue, revealing Harry, Ginny, Hermione, Ron, Draco as grown wizards sending their own children to Hogwarts. The Daily News claims Daniel Radcliffe might not be interested in returning to the series that made him famous. He'd rather wait until he's actually 40, which would be more age-appropriate in 13 years. He's doing fine with his own characters and acclaimed movies, such as the summer indie sensation Swiss Army Man. He will need some persuading, a source told the paper, because he doesn't exactly need the money or attention to return to the role of Potter. And then it kind of just goes on, weighing the pros and the cons of doing this. But to me, I don't know, I'm kind of torn, because as a fan, I'm always going to want more Harry Potter and to go back into that universe, and you know. But at the same time, I kind of I understand where he's coming from, that he kind of wants to move away from that character and perhaps do it down the road. Yeah. But.
And I get where he's saying that he would rather wait until he's actually older, make it a bit more authentic, because that epilogue scene in that final Harry Potter film was not great.
No, it really wasn't.
They looked rough. Kind of oiled them up a little bit, and it didn't quite work.
No.
But
is that also a kind of a way for him to say, hey, I'm not really interested, maybe down the road? So yeah,
I think so.
Let's wait until I'm 40. Actually, 40.
He's like I said, that's 13 years from now. But and we were talking about this before we started. There's no need to make this, if they do this, into a trilogy.
No.
That makes no sense.
Especially when the play is only a 2-parter anyways. Plus, we were talking about this, that the book and the source material isn't all that long.
No. It's like The Hobbit, which was, couldn't have been more than 250 pages, which I don't think it is. And they made 3 books out of it. That's a joke.
3 movies.
The last Harry Potter, which they split into 2, was 900 pages.
Yeah.
And they still didn't put enough detail in those 2 movies. So I don't understand what they're doing.
Yeah, especially with The Cursed Child. I mean, it's a play, and having read it could easily you could fit all of it, literally everything in this, like, an hour and a half film.
Right.
And put the entire thing, not missing anything, into the movie.
I can also see a little bit that they want to kind of make it their own, and perhaps expand it a little bit, but at the same, and take some liberties, because you don't want to direct. I mean, sometimes you do, but at the same time, you don't always want a direct adaptation because it's their own kind of creation. But still, 3 movies, yeah, that might be a little much. They're looking for their next trilogy, right? They're trying after Fantastic Beasts.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what they're doing. All right. Let's take another break. When we come back, we got Catwoman and another
petition
and John Krasinski.
Yeah.
So we will be back right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Yeah.
On the historic streets of Ogden, there are 2 kinds of people, readers and non-readers. Here's where you can find their stories.
Booked on 25th Street, located at 147 Historic 25th Street, Ogden, Utah, 84401.
Yeah, stop by and say hi to our friend Marcy. You can pick up a new or used book, or you can sell your own used books.
That's right, you can get 10% store credit on what they can sell the book for.
Stop in and say hi, or call them at 801-529-7720. You can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/bookedon25th, or you can email them at marcy@bookedon25th.com, or visit their website, bookedon25th.com.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
And we're back. So, Batman number 46, going back to comics, introduces Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman costume into DC continuity. Tim King and Tony Daniels' upcoming story in Batman won't just provide fans. Excuse me. Oh, it's those Tim Tams.
Those damn Tim Tams.
Mm-hmm. Won't just provide fans some fun time travel adventures with Booster Gold, it will also bring a familiar Catwoman costume into DC canon. Daniel shared his cover for Batman number 46, which shows some screwy things are happening with the timeline. For instance, Batman is wielding multiple guns, and Catwoman is decked out in a costume reminiscent of Michelle Pfeiffer's look in Batman Returns. The costume isn't an exact match, but it's clear that what Daniel was going for. The stitches across the catsuit are a dead giveaway. The 1992 film Batman Returns proved to be an iconic moment in the history of Catwoman. Pfeiffer's depiction of the character, though different from the original source, is remembered fondly for its gothic style.
That was one of the things I really kind of liked about that whole entire movie that Tim Burton did, is it kind of had that gothic. I mean, that's a little, to a degree, how I always pictured Gotham as just being dark and bleak and just,
dirty.
Yeah. Like, the streets are just riddled, with crime everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And Batman's been sent to,
Yeah, that's the one thing those Tim Burton movies, I think, had over Christopher Nolan, if there was something, was that they made Gotham City more of a comic book type city, whereas Nolan just shot in Chicago.
Yeah.
And that's what he used.
Which, is a dirty city, but...
It's true. Only disgusting people come from Chicago.
The name of the episode. So, speaking of disgusting people, a petition calling for addictive video games, Fortnite, to be banned.
Yay!
Yeah, Change.
I love a petition.
Change.org has been linked to many social moments around the world for for calls for entire Spanish government to resign from to affordable internet for people in India. Now, in Britain, it is currently being used by people fed up mostly with their partner, right?
That's why.
Yes, that makes sense now.
Only dirty people come from Britain.
Mostly with their partners for playing Fortnite. A number of Change.org petitions have been set up calling for addictive video games to be banned in what would be an unprecedented slap to the face for capitalism. The game, for those not in the know, involves lots of shooting, lots of dying. It's very hard to win in Fortnite, and a hell of a lot of colorful characters, comedy, and fun. While banning things generally doesn't necessarily result in a positive outcome, as suggested by the effects of various bans on booze and drugs, it must be noted that most of the petitions that are put here are a little tongue-in-cheek. One petition in particular, aimed to get 500 signatures, wrote, "Fortnite is annoying. It is distracting. When people talk about it in class, it is lowering my friends' grades, and that they are addicted to it. I don't know what else to do. She's throwing her life away for the game." Another said, "Fortnite is turning into more than a game. It is turning into an unhealthy obsession. I have heard kids saying, 'Why bother reading a book or doing work when I can play Fortnite?' It has to stop now." Another comment that the game is having addictive effects is on relationships, which may very well be true. As one campaign wrote, "Fortnite is getting rid of social interaction for relationships."
Yeah, it would be Facebook.
Right? That. It would be different if the game was a little interesting, but it's just ruining everything. What are your guys' thoughts on this one?
It's ridiculous.
It is. Well, do you guys remember? You may not, but there was a game some time ago that came out. There was a game that came out some time ago. You might have heard of it. It's called Call of Duty.
It vaguely sounds familiar.
So.
Yeah,
I think it was kind of a smaller indie game.
For some reason, I remember kids playing that all the time. Days. I had sleepovers that lasted 3 days where we didn't sleep. They were awake overs. And it's just this, kids will play video games, and they will play video games a ridiculous amount. They're not going to throw their lives away playing something that's going to not be a thing in a few years.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing happened with Halo, too.
Yeah.
That's all people were playing for.
Skyrim. Yeah.
I mean, it happens. You know, they get engrossed in this game for a while, and then they get bored and turn to something else.
You know what they need to do? They need to change change.org to won'tchange.org.
I like it.
Yeah.
Because none of these petitions will ever do anything.
They don't.
Except for the petition that we started, for zombies, because zombie lives matter.
That's true.
Yeah. But all these other ones, I completely get what you're talking about.
Yeah, trying to do petitions for video games and movies and stuff like that, it doesn't work because you're not in charge. People doing these, you're not. Sorry. A movie or video game company's not going to see so many signatures on something and think, oh, I guess we have to change now. Yeah. No. The only time a petition works is if it has to do with government, because it is law that the government has to address a petition if it gets a certain amount of signatures.
Yeah.
So that is the only time where it might be justified. Anything else is ridiculous and pointless and stupid, and you should stop it.
Yeah, when it comes to picking a character for a movie, or who they want to see play a movie, or
just anything related to a private business. Unless there's shareholders for that business that are wanting this change to happen, it's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Yeah. They have no reason to listen or think otherwise. And it is just kind of a fad. It's like the latest, you've got PUBG, as well as Fortnite going on, and yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just a fad.
Have you guys played these games at all?
No.
No?
Nope.
I've played PUBG, the mobile version.
Okay.
And Rules of Survival. I'm not that. I don't really like competitive shooters like that. I'm more of a solo gamer, but they're pretty fun.
It is kind of a cool concept because it reminds me a lot of like the Hunger Games. Because what's happening is 100 people will drop into this big, huge island. And you can go to these different locations and collect materials to build little forts or to build build up your arsenal with weapons. And then the map literally forces you, because of storms, keeps enclosing everybody in a smaller and smaller confined area, that it forces you to fight to survive, which is kind of a cool concept, but it doesn't have longevity.
You can't be like a camper with a sniper rifle.
I mean, you can if you get to the center area, because you can see where it's shrinking for the most part, the world.
Yeah.
So if you go there and set up, or it happens to be on a huge hill, you can camp, and you can and they do have a new mode, at least in Fortnite, that it's snipers only, which is kind of, I don't know. Kind of interesting, especially when you're 2 feet away from each other, So yeah.
So why is it called Fortnite? Because that means 2 weeks.
Well, because you're also building a fort, and in the they have a story mode, or not necessarily a story mode, but it's just got waves and waves of zombies.
Oh.
So you build up your fort. You have to go out and get supplies, but the only problem is because your resources are depleting in that area that you keep collecting, you have to you're forced to move elsewhere before these hordes of zombies attack you.
I see.
So,
all right,
there you
go. John Krasinski wants to be Fantastic Four's Reed Richards. John Krasinski has thrown in his hat to play Reed Richards if and when a new Fantastic Four movie franchise launches. The actor-director voiced his interest after being asked by Screen Rant. He said, "Oh yeah, the Fantastic Four, I would love that," Krasinski said. "I mean, listen, I'm still getting into the whole superhero thing. I didn't read comics as a kid. Not as many. I read some, but not as much. But I'm a huge superhero fan, so yeah, I'd love to do something like that. If there are any left. A lot of these have been taken. But the ones that are left, yeah, I would love to do something like that."
The two funny things that I'm taking away from this story is I think it's kind of funny that I'm pretty sure he was probably, they make it look random, like they just happened to ask him, but he's just like, hey, my producer comes before the show and just like, hey, go ahead and ask him about this, go ahead and ask him about his opinion on this. And then he's just like, oh yeah, I never read them growing up. No, is this not the case?
No, you're good. You're Go ahead.
Oh, okay. But do you feel like that's true at all? That they're kind of baited into these things so he can give his opinion to throw his name into the ring?
I think maybe that happens on some things, but I think on this one, I don't know. I think they might have asked him because he was once in the running to play Captain America.
Okay.
Like, he was on set getting fitted for wardrobe.
Right.
And the story goes that he saw Chris Hemsworth walk by, this big hulking dude, and he was like, you know what, I don't think I'm meant to be here. And he dropped off the project, and Chris Evans got it. So I think
Chris Hemsworth was just naked, walking around the set. Like, I'm just gonna leave.
So I think, hearing that, be like, oh well, I think John Krasinski would be a good superhero.
Okay,
something. So maybe they just ask him, and I don't know.
Okay. It wasn't complete. It just seemed like it was completely out of third base, out of nowhere. But that makes more sense.
Yeah. And there were also talks that they'd like Emily Blunt, his wife, to play Sue Storm.
Okay.
Fantastic Four, which I wouldn't mind. I think that'd be kind of cool.
The only problem is aren't they brother and sister?
No, they're husband and wife.
Are they? Oh, Sue Storm. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, I gotcha.
You're thinking Johnny Storm.
Johnny Storm. There you go.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking at first. I'm like, that would be horribly awkward. You're seeing your wife on set do all these different other scenes and stuff.
That's what was that show? Dexter.
Mm-hmm.
His sister
in the show
was played by
his wife.
His wife.
And they got divorced halfway through the series.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why they have arguments in there that are kind of real.
Yeah.
Wow. Although
I get a little close to home.
Speaking of Dexter, I did actually pick up the audio book, and I'm listening to Pet Sematary with him voicing it, and it's eerily good. It's pretty dark.
All right, let's take our last break, and when we come back, we got a few reviews to talk about. So be back right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Thanks, Troy. Hi, everybody. This is Sean Ray.
And John Irons.
And we're the hosts of Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast. We're a show that has a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we talk about movies and TV and cartoons, entertainment news, and every show has a different theme.
That's right. We might discuss anything from our favorite bad movies to who would win in a fight between C-3PO and the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. That was episode 41, a classic. You can download that episode and all of our other episodes on iTunes and Stitcher. We're on Podcast Addict and, of course, on our website, cosmicpotato.com.
It's special guests and movie news and geeky nerddom and nerdy geekery and lightsabers and Time Lords and Ninja Turtles all the way down. So check out Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast.
And we're back. So we're just talking about John Krasinski.
So it makes sense to talk about the movie that he was just in.
Yep, he's in a movie just opened up this weekend, A Quiet Place.
Which he directed, wrote, and starred with his wife, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. It's a very self-aggrandizing movie. So, A Quiet Place, I don't know if I can give the plot synopsis without spoilers. There are creatures in the world
that have invaded the planet.
Yes. That have very acute sense of hearing. And if they hear you, they will kill you. And so the survivors have to remain completely quiet. And
as well as the audience goers.
And so that begs the question, how do you live your day-to-day life by being completely silent? Because you would think all the things you'd have to give up.
Joni does it really well.
No, she doesn't. She does not. You'd have to give up showers. You'd have to give up, automobiles. You'd have to give up
laughter.
I can't do it.
Pretty much any talking.
I'd probably laugh about something and just.
I feel like we're safe to go over things that were in the trailer that aren't technically spoilers. So how they communicate is through sign language, which is awesome. I took sign language for a couple of years.
It's very handy.
That's a nice joke there.
Glad to hear the joke didn't fall on deaf ears.
I feel like he's done these jokes before.
But yeah,
But you're just hearing them for the first time.
Can we unplug his microphone?
It's been unplugged for like 2 days,
So yeah, here's what I'll say about this. A lot of people comparing this to Jordan Peele's movie, Get Out, because they're both comedy actors, mainly.
Yeah.
Him and John Krasinski, and they're both first-time directors. At least I think this is the first thing that John Krasinski's directed.
He hasn't always done just comedy, because he did one of our favorite movies of last year, the 13th Hour.
13 hours.
13 hours. There you go.
Yeah, but and it's true, but he is mostly known to be a comedic
for The Office.
Yeah, comedic actor. And so there are a lot of comparisons between the two, but my feeling is Get Out really took the horror genre and completely changed it. Whereas A Quiet Place it is a thriller, but it didn't change. It didn't really change anything in that genre.
Right.
What it did do is introduce some interesting concepts and do it in a very original way.
Well, okay, I'm going to have to actually, I guess, disagree a little bit because with Get Out, he was going, I mean, there was deeper meaning behind like everything that he did, but at the same time, he just kind of picked and chose from his favorite movies and kind of what he liked about all of them and kind of made something his own, you know.
He did, but what I mean is he took the horror genre, but it wasn't like, there wasn't like a killer, it wasn't a slasher movie. He basically made racism into a horror movie.
Right, okay, I got
right, whereas John Krasinski, this is a bit more straightforward. It's a thriller. They're aliens.
It's more your typical horror/thriller.
But like I said, what he did do is he took those concepts and made them
interesting.
He renewed them. He renewed these concepts and made them interesting. Made them a bit more intelligent.
Did they have any like background music playing even when it was?
They had some music.
There was a score. Yeah.
Okay.
But there are many scenes where it is dead silent. There is no dialogue.
Oh wow.
Which was great for me, like especially when they were doing the sign language, because as you guys know, I watch TV with subtitles on all the time, and it didn't feel like it took away from the movie at all because I'm totally used to it.
Yeah, I didn't really even notice them.
It just kind of like flowed so well with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, there wasn't a lot of like signed dialogue, so it was just quick, small sentences that you didn't really have to read a bunch.
Yeah, and they did a lot as far as setting up this world,
making it for possibly a sequel.
No.
Okay.
But I mean, as far as like the way they set up the barn, the way they set up the barn, the house, to make sure that it didn't make any noise. That's what I mean. Okay. Like painting marks on the floor. Those were the places
where you can step without making a creak in the floorboards.
So how are they able to? How are they able to do that before? You know what I mean? Like, they realize that these creatures have really good hearing, so then they kind of go to this place and.
Well, the movie takes place 500 days into this invasion, so they've been living there for a while.
Right. No, I get that, but as soon as you hear on the news, they're really they can hear really well or something, so you purposely quickly go through your house and start chalking up the places to walk.
I think the survivors will in the movie, and this isn't really a spoiler. There's a bunch of newspapers that have published about these monsters and how to prevent attacks from them and things like that. So, I'm assuming that these news outlets survived for at least a little while to allow people to get kind of a head start on these things.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying. It's okay, so they can hear really well. How did they get prepared for all this without making noise?
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and I kind of thought about that too when I was watching.
If you think too much about it, it kind of takes away a little bit.
Yeah, it might a little bit.
Okay. And also, it'd be kind of difficult because how do you defend something? We've got all these guns and we've got all these other methods to kill these creatures, but you're having to resort to more primitive ways of killing them, perhaps.
Yeah, because guns don't work on them. There are newspaper articles and stuff like you were saying that kind of passed by and said, well,
they're indestructible.
Yeah, they have body armor and stuff like that, or an exoskeleton, whatever it is.
Oh, jeez.
But the problem with guns, if you fire a gun,
they're going to call them to you. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
So that's kind of a double-edged sword there.
But
so I really liked this. It was really unique. It's always good to see an original film that really has a good story and good acting. The kids in this movie are fantastic.
Huh.
I heard a review that one of the film critics said that girl that's in there, who's actually from Utah, by the way, she's from Bountiful, said that she needs to be in Stranger Things season 3. Like, she would fit right in with that group.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
And the boy, he was in Wonder, and I thought he did a good job in Wonder as well.
Where he was from. I kept looking at him
You
like,
wondered?
I've seen this kid. Where is he from?
I wonder.
Yeah. That's right. He played his friend. His buddy, yeah.
Troy, the only reason why you didn't remember is because you had too many tears in your eyes. Cause
Sure. Looking through blurry vision.
Yeah.
And there's also a really great scene with Emily Blunt in a bathtub.
Which, that's in the trailer, so we can talk about that.
Yeah.
And she's in the process, she's in labor during this, and they show that in the trailer. But here's my thing. If you are living in a world where creatures hunt by sound and will eviscerate you if they hear you, maybe consider birth control. Just a thought.
Yeah. And I was thinking,
don't have children.
I was thinking, well, maybe it was an accident. Maybe they thought they were preventing, but they didn't.
And then you push her down a flight of stairs or something.
And she dies anyway.
Either she dies or the baby does. Either way, win-win. But yeah,
at the end of this episode, we need to throw in some sort of disclaimer, like, please do not push anybody down the stairs to prevent, Yeah.
The views and opinions of World War Z do not necessarily represent,
Wait, they do, but
the wives or the fiancés or girlfriends of the panel members. So out of 5. I'd say hearing aids. That plays a pretty big part in the movie. I'm giving it 3.
A 3?
Yeah.
I'd give it a 4. And not because it was a horror movie or a thriller.
It's a thriller.
It's a thriller. Because it wasn't too scary.
No.
And 2, they didn't go overboard with the jump scares like most thrillers do. Like, there were a lot of them, but they were well placed.
Yes.
So yeah, I'd give it a 4.
All right. Fair enough.
Dang it! Now I gotta go see it. I really do want to see it, but yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't, because you were the one all this time that's been wanting to go see that.
I know. I'm waiting for my date so we're setting up time to go on Tuesday.
I pushed her down the stairs the other day, so wait for her to heal.
Yeah.
Then we'll go see it.
Exactly. Then we'll go see it. As soon as those bruises kind of like, don't look so noticeable. What was it? Oh, so I did go see, however, Ready Player One. Thanks to your opinion, and man, it was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was great, and I loved how there was such a big. It was like black and white as far as being in this world and being out of the world.
Yes,
it was.
So I did have a question. Contrast. I know that you both really liked the movie, but how did it compare to the book? Did it follow it? I know there's a couple things that were...
No, I mean, they took quite a few liberties with it.
Yeah, there were a couple things that were pretty close, like finding the keys and stuff like that, but...
So you would want to think of watching the movie as its own story?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you go in thinking it's going to be, verbatim, exactly like the book, then you'll be maybe a little disappointed, but at the same time not, because... It's
so good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Like the first Maze Runner. Because I thought the first Maze Runner was really good.
It is.
Even though it didn't really follow the book.
Yeah.
I think... Oh, what do we go... I'll just go with keys. Out of 5 of them, I'm probably sitting at about 3.5, almost 4, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Like I said, my geek side, geek side gave it 5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Battletoads.
I love that. All right, so I also watched and finally finished Jessica Jones Season 2.
Okay.
Which I guess we established is a mark of a good Marvel Netflix show if I get past episode 6.
Mm-hmm.
Which I still haven't done with Punisher or Iron Fist. So Jessica Jones season 1, we've said wasn't our favorite.
Right.
But after seeing season 2, I think, well, maybe I should go back and reevaluate.
Because it's not like it's that many. I mean, it's not a huge investment.
Yeah.
You know.
Because season 2 was really good. I really enjoyed it. Because, and this is going to sound weird, but they didn't do a lot with, as far as her powers go. Hardly anything.
Yeah.
What it was a story about her background, finding her, as far as her family goes, old family, new family. There's a couple other points in there that has to do with her friend being a former child star and the problems she was going through, and then her Jessica Jones associate, the black dude. He's trying to learn how to be good PI, but she's kind of, pushing him away, and then there's a love interest that comes in. There's a lot of things happening, but it all ties in really well, and there's a new villain that is cropped up that has ties to Jessica's past.
So it's more of a drama.
It is. It's a drama. And it's done really well, and what's her name? Kristen Ritter? Yeah, Kristen Ritter, Jessica Jones, is really good. There's even a quick cameo, well, not quick, he's in pretty much an episode of David Tennant is back as Kilgrave.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. What I would say is you have to have seen season 1 before watching season 2. If not, you will be completely confused. You won't know who these characters are, what their motivations are, because it ties really closely into the first season. Huh. So out of 5 inhalers, yeah, I would give it. I'm probably at 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I think is an improvement from season 1. I don't remember what I gave season 1. But, yeah. Yeah.
Well, there you have it.
There you have it. So, unless you guys have anything else, here's where you can find us. You can listen to all of our episodes at worldwarg.podbean.com. You can also find us on cosmicpotato.com, iTunes, and the Google Play, and wherever your podcasts are sold. You can find us on Facebook.com/WorldWarG Twitter and Instagram. You can find us at WWG Podcast. You can find all of our merchandise, shirts and whatnot, at shop.spreadshirt.com/WorldWarG. You can also email us anytime.
Day or night.
At worldwargpodcast@gmail.com. And remember, you can always call or text the show anytime for free at 385-240-1692. Just leave us a message. So this has been World War G episode 172. That has been Adric.
That has been Troy.
And I've been Colton.
Stay geeky, my friends. Intimately.
That's all, folks.